So Felix Cash stops Jack Cullen in the 8th round. Very decent fight. A lot of punches being thrown. Not too much skill involved, but it was fun to watch. Jack Cullen is very tall for a middleweight. He's about 6'3" middleweight, and very tall. Seems to be very long, very lanky, but he fights phone booth style. He doesn't use his height and reach. He fights like a guy who, I think they said on commentary, who's about 5'6", not 6'3". He doesn't use his height, doesn't use his reach, doesn't use any of that. Just goes in full blown rock'em sock'em style. And in this fight against Felix Cash is a fighter who I've seen over the years. I've never really seen much that jumps out at me. And in this fight again, he looked just the more polished of the two. It just looked like he was just the more polished, and he just had the slight more skill. That was kind of really what won him this fight. Cullen was just throwing everything but the kitchen sink, but he was throwing arm punches. Like, when I was looking at it, I was thinking, you know what? You can see Cash is actually twisting, and he's trying to get some extension on them shots. But with Cullen, it's just a case of just throwing and seeing what lands. And there were times in the fight where it looked like actually Cullen was having some success, but then I think Cash would, get a flurry going and then would basically put Cullen down, because Cullen was down a couple of times this fight. He was down in the first round, and to be fair, it did look like Cullen would get taken out in a round. It looked like Cash would just get rid of Jack Cullen, and it wouldn't be necessarily the most competitive fight you'd ever see in the world. I've seen Jack Cullen fight on a prize fighter show here in Ireland called Last Man Standing, and he was taken out in a round by Roy Sheehan. Roy Sheehan was a good amateur, and it almost looked identical to the Roy Sheehan fight, because you can go watch that fight. It's on YouTube, where Jack Cullen was just in there with somebody better who was more accurate and was able to find them, and Jack Cullen didn't seem to know what to do. He was taken out in a round by Roy Sheehan, whereas in this fight he seemed to know a little bit more what to do, because he wasn't as bad as he was against Sheehan, but all he done from the first round was just throw shots. Felix Cash, just a better technique, more polished game, was able to find Jack Cullen a lot more, and that was basically all she wrote. There were times in there where Felix Cash looked uncomfy, just purely because he was hitting Jack Cullen with everything but the kitchen sink, when he wasn't moving him. And at the end of the day, if you hit someone so many times, eventually they will go, because I think Cash hit him with right hand after right hand after right hand, and you did start to wonder. You just thought, Jesus, can this guy take any more shots, and will he be okay after the fight if he even gets it to the final bell? Thankfully he did, and he was fine. Both guys were fine. Both guys put on a good show. In terms of where both guys move forward, if I was Jack Cullen, if I was in his team, I'd be getting to box, use his height and reach. I know it's hard when you've never done it before. Well, obviously if you've never fought that way, but he's 6'3" at middleweight with long arms, so you should probably try and use that reach. In terms of Felix Cash, he's Commonwealth champion. I would be keeping him away from Liam Williams, because Liam Williams, I'm sure they've said, British champion, they'd like to go down that road. I would keep him away. Liam Williams is world level at this stage. Seriously, world level. I'd be looking at maybe a Fowler Fitzgerald fight if either one of them moved to middleweight. That's a natural fight for Felix Cash. But these domestic level fights, they can be fun to watch. They can be good. It's not necessarily the most skill on show, but just fun to watch. And I enjoyed this fight. It was a good little scrap. And those are my kind of 2 cents on it. There wasn't really much to kind of break down in this fight. As I said, it was one guy throwing volume, but not really quality, and the other guy was throwing quality. But, maybe he didn't necessarily have the power to, knock the guy out in one shot. So that was kind of how this fight went. It was a decent little scrap, as I said. So that was my thoughts on this. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down below. If you liked the video, please leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, I will talk to you after.